The following is a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter number 5, text number 11, given by His Grace, Sriman Sankarshan Das Adhikari, recorded on August 28th, 2012, in Akheloi, Bulgaria.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tat Vak Visarga Janata Agha Viplavaha Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadavati Api Namani Anantasya Yasha Ankitani Yat Shrindvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadavaha Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadavachyapi Namanyanantasya yashon kirtani yat Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo Yasmin pratishlokam abhadhavatyapi Namanyanantasya yashon kirtani yat Shrinvanti gayanti grananti sadavaha Tat that Vak vocabulary Visarga creation Janata and the people in general Agha sins Viplavaha revolutionary Yasmin in which Pratishlokam each and every stanza Abhadhavati irregularly composed Api in spite of Namani transcendental names, etc. Anantasya of the unlimited Lord. Yashaha glories. Ankitani depicted. Yat what Shrinvanti do hear. Gayanti do sing. Grananti do accept. Sadavaha the purified men who are honest. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. Purport. It is the qualification of the great thinkers to pick up the best, even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from the stalk of poison, should accept gold even from a filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions for everyone in every place without exception. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He was always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change. And as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions. While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. Our neighboring friend, China, has attacked the border of India with a militaristic spirit. We have practically no business in the political field, yet we see that previously there were both China and India, and they both lived peacefully for centuries without ill feeling. The reason is that they lived those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness, and every country over the surface of the world was God-fearing, pure-hearted and simple, and there was no question of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over land which is not very suitable for habitation, and certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of quarrel, Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance to quarrel on the slight provocation. This is due not to the issue in question, but to the polluted atmosphere of this age. Systematically, there is propagation by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, there is a great need for disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the supermost good, as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world. Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work, there is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident that if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart, and naturally the people in general will follow them. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of the modern politicians and leaders of the people. If there is a change of heart of leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempt to present this great literature conveying transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general and re-spiritualizing the world atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties. Our presenting this matter in adequate language, especially a foreign language, will certainly fail, and there will be so many literary discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present it in the proper way. For we are sure that with all our faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration, and the leaders of society will still accept this due to its being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty God. When there is fire in a house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from the neighbors, who may be foreigners, and yet without knowing the language of the victims of the fire, express themselves and the neighbors understand the need, even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of the Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world. After all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are concerned with the techniques and not with the language. If the techniques of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success. When there are too many materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, there is no wonder that a person or a nation attacks another person or nation on slight provocation. That is the rule of this age of Kali. The atmosphere is already polluted with corruption of all description, and everyone knows it well. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. In many countries there are bodies appointed by the state to detect and censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leaders of the public want such literature. Yet it is in the marketplace because the people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read, that is a natural instinct, but because their minds are polluted, they want such literatures. Under the circumstances, transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering after reading some interesting literature. In the beginning, they may not like it, because one suffering from jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy. But we should know that sugar candy is the only remedy for jaundice. Similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing the reading of the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature, the other literatures which are catering poison to society will then automatically cease. We are sure, therefore, that everyone in human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many faults, for it is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam So we here see how Prabhupada is very, very nicely analyzed the situation in the age of Kali. He points out the example of China and India. Having a war, even though there's no fighting going on between, even though the land is not even suitable for habitation.
които се сражават помежду си за едно парче земя, което дори не е годно за обитаване.
In other words, in this age, people are itching for a fight, you see.
Други думи, в тая епоха хората ги сърби да се бият.
They're just looking for some excuse to fight.
Търсят си някакво извинение, за да се бият.
Even there's nothing wrong, even though someone didn't do anything wrong, they're looking for some way that they can start to have a fight with somebody, you see.
Дори да няма нищо да не е правил грешно, те си търсят някакъв повод, за да се сражават.
Prabhupada is saying that even though there is no cause for fighting, they look for some opportunity for fighting, you see. That's how polluted it is.
Прабхупада казва, че дори да няма причина за сражение, те си намират причина. Ето толкова е замърсена епохата.
Even if someone has acted in good faith, in a loving mood, still they're criticized, you see. They find fault with them.
Дори някой да действа така с потикван от любов, те пак намират причина, за да се...
Just like Haridas Thakur.
Като
He was simply acting as a well-wisher of all living beings. What did they do? They beat him in 22 marketplaces, trying to kill him, you see. What was his crime? What did he do wrong? He was simply preaching love of God, that's all. Pure love of God. Same thing with Lord Jesus, you see. What was his crime? Can you imagine how being nailed to a cross, and have your nails put through your hands and feet and just left there to die, a slow, agonizing death? That's what they did to him because he was preaching love of God, you see. And our ISKCON also, those devotees in Russia, you see, some of them died. This poor boy, Ananta Shanti Prabhu, he was the one who started preaching Krishna consciousness in Russia. They took him and put him in a psychiatric hospital. They gave him electroshock therapy to try to destroy his brain. The maniac Russian communists, they electroshock therapy is very damaging to the brain. They give it to him again and again and again, trying to give him to give up Krishna consciousness. He would never give it up. So sometimes we see that innocent people are being tortured. They didn't do anything wrong, but just because people have this fighting propensity, they torture and they torment innocent people. So Prabhupada is giving here the solution for this very unfortunate condition of the age of Kali. The propagation of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the solution. The more the Bhagavatam can be vibrated, the more it can be printed and distributed, you see, it purifies the whole atmosphere. It's such a powerful literature. The Sanskrit word here is viplavaha, revolution. This message of the Bhagavatam is so powerful it can completely transform the whole world. It can actually check the Kali Yuga and bring in an age of Vedic age. That's how powerful it is. So, even it may be not perfectly presented. That's the amazing thing. There may be some flaw, you see. His English may not be very good. He may make some grammatical mistakes in the way he constructs his sentences. But in spite of whatever defect there may be in the presentation, the potency still acts. Prabhupada gives the example of a movie theater. He just gives a general example. We can understand a movie theater. A fire breaks out. But nobody knows about it. But one person who happens to be a foreigner, who doesn't speak the local language, he knows there's a fire. He doesn't even know, let's say he's an English-speaking person, he's visiting Bulgaria, and a fire breaks out in the Bulgarian theater. What is the Bulgarian word for fire? Požar. Požar. But he doesn't know the word. How will he alert the people? He doesn't know the word for požar. But there's a fire coming and people don't realize it and they're going to be killed. He has to alert them. So he comes running and fire, 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 but no one knows what the word means. But they can see by the look on his face and the intensity of his voice, something bad's happening. You see? You see what I'm saying? He doesn't know Persia, but he knows fire, 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 fire. Everyone get out. They don't understand what he's saying. The people get the idea. Something's bad's happening. We can see by the intensity, the mood that he's speaking, you see. So in this way, even if there's some flaw, you see, some technical flaw in the way that one preaches, if he is purely, sincerely trying to help everyone to become free from their suffering, that preacher should be appreciated. See, the Bhagavatam should be appreciated, even if there's some literary flaw. If we say, "Oh, I saw a grammatical error in the Bhagavatam, therefore reject it, it's no good." Some literary mistakes. The Prabhupada, his English was not perfect, so actually you can see this in the original edition of the Bhagavatam. Some devotees have that original Bhagavatams. You see. I actually had an original set of the Bhagavatam. Those 3 volumes I had a set, but I gave them as a gift to Vishnu Jan Swami. In reciprocation for the mercy he had given me by making me a devotee, I gave him my set of Bhagavatam, the original set. But now I have a replica. And you can, if you read the replica, you can see there's so many grammatical errors in Prabhupada's original Bhagavatam. But yet the devotees read these books and they were so inspired. Because Prabhupada's purity, Prabhupada's sincerity came through very strongly. Even there was some literary flaw in his presentation. It didn't matter. You see. So even there's some technical flaw in the preacher, because his desire is to bring about a revolution of consciousness on this planet. That preacher should not be considered nonsense or a rascal. The sincerity of his desire to bless people with Krishna consciousness, that should be seen. The Muslims couldn't appreciate Haridas Thakur because they were too much on the bodily platform. They were seeing Muslim, Hindu. They weren't seeing spirit soul, you see. Same thing with Lord Jesus, because the people were not seeing things in a transcendental way. They were seeing on the bodily platform, therefore they could not appreciate this great devotee of the Lord Jesus Christ. So, we should be very careful about our own consciousness, our own perceptions. We should not judge somebody based on our own material conceptions. This is called Vaishnava Aparad. Hati Mata offense.
хатимата.
If based on some material consideration, we blaspheme or criticize a person who has dedicated his life for spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, that is the greatest offense. Hatimata.
Ако ние да основа на нашите материални съображения критикуваме и заславяме личност, която е посветила живота си да разпространява Кришна съзнание по целия свят, това е оскърбление много голямо хатимата.
Prabhupada very strongly warns against this hatimata offense.
Шила Прабхупада много силно така ни предупреждава да внимаваме.
He compares it to a mad elephant. Actually, hatimata means mad elephant. That's the meaning of it. So if you're growing, you have a garden where you're growing your bhakti lata, your devotional creeper. And you let a mad elephant get in that one step, he will destroy the creeper. So we must have all respect for those who are preaching Krishna consciousness. Even if we disagree on some points, we still have to see the sincerity of the person. This is why so many devotees leave our movement. Because they don't know how to respect the Vaishnavas. See, we're not always going to agree with each other. It's just the human nature. I mean, you have your viewpoint, I have my viewpoint. I may think, well, the deities should be dressed in a red outfit today. And you may think, no, it should be a green outfit today. So should we have a fight with each other? And may make blasphemous statements against each other? Just because we disagree on how the deity should be dressed today. You see, because of the influence of Kali, we have a tendency to do foolish things like that. In some insignificant little point, we want to make, so many offenses against each other. That means Kali that's the influence of Kali within our movement. So we have to be very careful that, Kali is not welcome here. Unless he agrees to shave up, put on some tilak and neck beads, and become a devotee, then he's welcome. Bhakta Kali. If he wants to join the Bhakti program, then he's welcome. If he wants to sneak in here and cause fighting amongst the devotees, we don't want him, you see. Prabhupada told us, do not fight amongst yourselves. Your love for me will be seen by how much you cooperate with each other after my disappearance. The most important thing for every devotee remember about being in this Krishna conscious movement is this one point. No matter what happens, don't leave. Because this movement is an incarnation of Krishna. Krishna is personally present in this movement. This Prabhupada has said this movement is his body. So Prabhupada is personally present. So we should not leave. Some devotees say, well, this movement is not good for my Krishna consciousness. Better to leave the movement and practice Krishna consciousness on my own. But Prabhupada, that's disobeying Srila Prabhupada. How can disobeying Srila Prabhupada be good for your Krishna consciousness? It's an offense to disobey Srila Prabhupada. You can't become Krishna conscious by disobeying Srila Prabhupada.
Човек не може да стане Кришна в съзната, ако не се подчинява на Шрила Прабхупада.
The only way to become Krishna conscious is to become fully obedient to Srila Prabhupada's instructions.
Единственият начин човек да стане Кришна в съзната е напълно да следва инструкциите на Шрила.
It's the only way you can really be Krishna conscious.
Това е единственият начин наистина да
Be fully obedient to the instructions of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Tri Dandi Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. That's how we will be successful. Not that we, there's an old saying, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Now that someone may think, well, now that Prabhupada is gone, we don't have to so strictly follow the principles anymore. Now we can deviate because Prabhupada's not here to correct us. Well, I can tell you, if one does that, it's like taking a knife and slitting your own throat. Because our only connection with spiritual life is our obedience to Srila Prabhupada. As soon as we begin disobeying Srila Prabhupada's instructions, we're simply taking a knife and cutting our own throats. So please, do not commit spiritual suicide. Do not disobey the orders of Srila Prabhupada. What are those orders? They're right there in the books. Take all these books and read all these books. Cover to cover. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Upadeshamrita, Easy Journey to Other Planets, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Shri Upanishad. Every single book that Prabhupada himself authored, those are the prime subject matters, the prime books for reading. If you read these books carefully, you will know what Prabhupada wants you to do. And if you follow those instructions, you'll be successful in spiritual life. Some of you are my disciples, and you are dependent on my instructions. But I may not always be. I'm not always going to be here on this planet. That day will come any time when I will leave this planet. So I want this one instruction to remain with you. That you must always read Srila Prabhupada's books, and you must always follow Srila Prabhupada's books. You must always remain in his movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and you must always cooperate with the leaders and the devotees of this movement. Because by this mood, the personality of Kali will not be able to penetrate. Kali can only get in when we give up our strict obedience to Srila Prabhupada. That's how the personality of Kali gets into ISKCON and starts making trouble. If we will strictly follow Prabhupada's instructions, Kali cannot penetrate our Sangha. But as soon as we become loose, Kali gets in, you see. It starts creating havoc. Devotees start fighting with one another, committing offenses in this way. So please, 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 I beg you and I beg all the devotees here in Bulgaria, please read Prabhupada's books very seriously and regularly and do whatever Prabhupada says. Please do this. I'm begging you, please read Prabhupada's books and please follow his instructions. So I can ask now if there's any questions. Yeah.
What you spoke is very nice and very correctly spoken, but on Prabhupada's teachings, that's very nice. And but it is happening that even when we want to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions and guidance, either we are fanatics or it causes problems.
Well, that happens sometimes. One may be... Okay, go ahead. So what's the question?
I have the question.
No, I have to translate.
The question
He
is...
has to translate.
Okay. So the question is then, why is that?
Why is that? And plus, how much we should follow Prabhupada's instruction? Because following the instructions also causes the problem, and not following the instructions also causes the problem. So which way to go?
Yeah. Well, sometimes if one wants to strictly follow Prabhupada's instructions...
He needs to translate
Okay.
the question.
Въпросът е, че понякога, когато искаме да следваме инструкциите на Шрила Прабхупад, това също създава проблеми. Така че какво да правим? Ако не следваме инструкциите е проблем, ако ги следваме също се създава проблеми. Защо се получава така и какво да правим?
Sometimes it may appear that by strictly following Prabhupada's instructions, that causes trouble. But that is not the fault of Prabhupada's instructions. That's our misperception. Prabhupada's instructions liberate us. You see, for example, if one is suffering from jaundice, the cure is sugar candy. The doctor prescribes sugar candy for the jaundice. Some may think, oh, this is really troublesome. It's so bitter, I just want to spit it out. This is no good. This is troublesome to take this sugar candy. I'm not going to take it. So sometimes people think, oh, Prabhupada's instructions are no good. They're too troublesome. Better to change things, you see. Prabhupada said, no illicit sex. So now let's change it. No sex out of marriage. I remember I was shocked when I was giving initiation to Guru Nishta.
No, Prema Manjari.
Oh, it was Prema Manjari.
It was both.
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 He says both.
Both of them? I said, what are the four regulated principles? And I remember it was Guru Nishta, but anyway, I was told no sex out of marriage was the regulated principle in the initiation ceremony. And I said, no, wait a minute. no illicit sex, not no sex out of marriage.
Когато дадах посвещение на Гуру Ништа и Према Манджари, ми казаха на посвещението, че не трябва да се прави секс извън женитбата. И аз казах, чакай малко, не е верно това, не трябва, забранен секс не трябва да се води.
Because our principle is to practice brahmachari life as a married person also.
Защото нашия принцип е да се практикува брамачари живот дори като женен.
To use sex only for propagation and not for recreation.
Да се прави секс само за възпроизводство, а не за...
Some devotees want to change that now in our movement. They want to change Prabhupada's instruction.
Някои преданни искат да променят това.
That it means no sex outside of marriage. But in marriage, it's okay. As much sex as you want, it's okay. You're married.
Извън брака да няма сексуален живот, и в брака може да има колкото иска.
That is not grihastha life. That is called grihamedi life.
Но това не е грихаста живот, това е грихамеди.
Prabhupada said brahmachari means sex, having sex only for procreation. That's brahmachari. Brahmachari means having sex only for procreation. So they are called grihastha brahmacharis. In our movement, everyone brahmachari, you see. Our brahmacharis are brahmacharis. Our brahmacharinis are brahmacharis. Our grihasthas are brahmacharis. Our vanaprasthas are brahmacharis. And our sannyasis are brahmacharis. Because our principle is nobody has any sex life except for procreation. So one may think this is troublesome. Sugar candy is too bitter, it's troublesome. Better not to take it, that's better. So that is foolishness. You might think that Prabhupada's instructions are troublesome. But these instructions of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Tri Dandi Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada, are what will deliver you from the cycle of birth and death. If you don't take Prabhupada's instructions seriously, you are doomed to rot in the cycle of birth and death. Your tilak and neck beads will not save you. If you don't take Prabhupada's instructions seriously, your dhoti and your sari will not save you. It's by strictly following the orders of Srila Prabhupada, that's how you become saved. You may say, but I don't want strict orders. I want some loose standard, thank you. My dear doctor, I don't want to take the sugar candy. It's too bitter. Well, my dear patient, you will not become cured. If you don't take the sugar candy, you're not becoming cured, and that's it. You're going to continue. The jaundice will kill you. So it's your choice, my dear patient. You can take the sugar candy, or you cannot take it. You want to be cured, or you want to remain diseased. It's your choice. So if you want to be cured, you take Prabhupada's instructions. Read the books, follow the books, and distribute the books. That is our life. Read the books, follow the books, and distribute the books. Yeah.
Прабхупада става истината, че всички негови ученици да станат духовни учители. Сега неговите ученици пишат много книги вече и за проповядването на Кришна съзнание. Ние трябва да запазим приоритета на книгите, на Шрила Прабхупада по тези книги при проповядването.
Srila Prabhupada has given the order that each of his disciples should become a guru, and we see now many advanced devotees, they write books. So when we are preaching, should we keep the priority of Srila Prabhupada books before these books?
Prabhupada's books are always the priority. It's not that the other books are wrong. I mean, Prabhupada told me that, he told me I could write books. He also, he encouraged the disciples to write. So those books are authorized by Prabhupada. He instructed his disciples to write books. But those books are always less important than Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's books are the foundation. Just like when you have a meal, you have your rice, dal, chapatis are there. You see, that's what gives you the nourishment. You may take a sweet at the end. Prabhupada's books are the rice, dal, chapati, and sabji, you see. Our books may be or some extra thing you can take, but the main thing is Prabhupada's books. When we go out for book distribution, the main thing is Prabhupada's book. And we have just chant and be happy, for example, is not one of Prabhupada's books. It was written by the devotees. Coming back, I don't know if you have this in Bulgarian. Coming back, you have chant and be happy?
We intend to...
It's nice. These can be used to help attract people to Prabhupada's books. Other books that are written by devotees should be for the purpose of attracting people to Prabhupada's books. Then they are also good. But if by your book you have not attracted people to Prabhupada's books, then your book is garbage. You see, the book should be for the purpose of bringing the people to Prabhupada's books.
Имам два въпроса, свързани с епохата на Кали. Първият е за как да запазим настроението на служени, въпреки че някой на такова се опита да... първият въпрос.
He has two questions regarding the age of Kali. First question is how to preserve our service mood when someone is attacking us and giving us...
Okay. Who's that someone? A devotee? Okay. Let me take one question at a time. So the first question is, let's say there's some devotees there's sometimes devotees are fighting amongst themselves, devotees attacking you not physically, but verbally, right? Yeah. Shishi Garnitai ki jai, Shishi Radharamana ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. So how do you maintain your service mood with another devotee is attacking it? There might be some fight going on, a disagreement that's gotten out of hand, it's not being properly done according to Vaishnava principles. So how do you maintain your enthusiasm? Well, there's a nice instruction from Prabhupada in this regard. Because he got so much trouble and harassment from his godbrothers. But he never let it stop him. I remember when one of my godbrothers, Rudra Prabhu, he was feeling very discouraged because he was so much criticized by the devotees. And he wrote Prabhupada about this. And Prabhupada, my godbrothers are criticizing me. And Prabhupada said, well, I was also criticized by my godbrother. So, if Prabhupada went through it, and you're going, another letter, a very strong letter that Prabhupada wrote to Shyamasundara. He said, for my godbrothers, I simply got compression, depression, and repression. But I stuck to my duty. So, as they say in English, whether it's hell or it's high water, you have to stick to your duty. Come hell or high water, that means whether all hell breaks loose or there's a flood and the water comes up to the ceiling. Doesn't matter what the situation, you stick to your duty. Your duty is to read Prabhupada's books and follow what Prabhupada says in his books. And as your spiritual master, that's my order to you. Stick to what Prabhupada has given in these books. That's my order to you. You see.
Каквото и да става, човек трябва да изпълнява дълга си и това е моята инструкция към теб, да четеш книгите на Прабхупада и да ги
Whether they worship you or they attack you, it doesn't matter.
Независимо дали те те обожават или те атакуват, няма значение.
Your duty is to read these books and to follow what's in these books.
Твоя дълг е да четеш тези книги и да следваш това, което пише.
Your duty is to follow Lord Chaitanya's order. Jari deka tadekaha Krishna upadash amara agaya guru hoyutara edesh. Whomever you meet, instruct him in the teachings of Krishna. In this way, in my order, you become guru and deliver the people of this country. That's the order of Lord Chaitanya that Prabhupada said we must follow. So even if I'm attacked by the devotees, I don't let that break my enthusiasm for preaching Krishna consciousness. What if by that attack I've lost all my enthusiasm? Preach anyway. And the enthusiasm will come back. You see, even if I've been attacked in so many ways, labeled, as no good, as contaminated, as materialistic, as simply greedy, lusty, materialistic person, that if the devotees have labeled me that way, still, no matter what, because Prabhupada's, the things that you wouldn't believe what some of the God brothers said about Prabhupada. But still, he didn't let it stop his enthusiasm.
Каквото и да ти кажат, каквото и етикет да ти сложат, ти не трябва да губиш ентусиазъм си и да продължаваш. Даже на Прабхупад не може да повярвате какви неща са.
One God brother said, "Oh, he's wearing a watch, therefore he's materialistic."
Един духовен брат не е казал, че понеже носи часовник, значи е материалист.
They find fault with him for wearing a watch, if you can imagine.
За това, че носи часовник, са му намерили.
This proves that he's materialist. He's not a spiritual person because he's wearing a watch.
Това доказва, че е материалист, понеже носи часовник.
So I am also criticized, you see, that I'm a materialistic person.
И мен също ме критикуват, че съм материалистичен личност.
Because I made so many devotees, they say, oh, therefore he must be desiring followers because he's made so many devotees.
Понеже толкова предано дайни се присъединили.
In Bulgaria, they criticized me that he is a materialist because he's made so many disciples here. Therefore he is materialist.
В България ме критикуват, че съм материалист, защото съм събрал толкова последователи и ученици.
So what should I do? Stop preaching? No. I have my orders from Prabhupada. He told us in Los Angeles, he said, become guru and deliver the world. So it doesn't matter what they say about me. My order from my spiritual master is still there. Become guru and deliver the world. And I don't care what they say about me. I'm going to stick to the order I received from my spiritual master. Any other questions? Yeah.
Тази връзка как можем да разберем кога критиката от предан дан насочена към нас е отрицателна и кога е положителна? Как можем да разграничим кога в тази критика има истина, че ние всъщност грешим, кога просто е насочена отрицателно насочена?
In this regard, how can we distinguish when the critic, which is directed towards us, is positive or it's a negative? How?
Whether it's true or false, you mean?
Yeah.
One has to always be humble. One has to always be very introspective and analyze oneself very honestly. One should never be proud. One should always feel himself to be very meek and humble. This is a very important thing. As soon as one becomes proud, then he can't properly judge things, you see. If I think I'm great, you see, then I've lost my power to judge things properly. If one thinks I'm rascal,
човек си мисли, аз съм...
I'm lower than the dirt.
Аз съм по-нисък
You see.
от кълта.
Then Krishna will bless them with proper understanding of how to see everything.
Тогава Кришна ще ги благослови с правилното разбиране как да гледат на всичко.
So one should always think himself to be very fallen, very lowly.
Затова човек винаги трябва да смята себе си западнал и ниш.
Always very much weak and fallen and dependent on the mercy of his spiritual master.
Винаги да се смята за слаб, паднал и зависим от милостта на духовния си учител.
Because it's only in that very humble position
Защото винаги само в тази смирена позиция
that Krishna will bless the devotee with transcendental vision.
Кришна благославя правилно дание с трансцендентално съзнание.
As soon as I think that I'm great, that means I'm covered by the modes of nature.
Щом си помисля, че съм велик, това значи, че съм покрит от гумите на природата.
I think I'm nonsense, then I can have some transcendental understanding.
Ако си мисля, аз не става за нищо, тогава може да имаме трансцендентално.
Srila Prabhupada has so nicely taught us from his own example.
Шрила Прабхупада така ни със своите примерни получения.
If you study his arrival prayers, he says, even though I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta, I have no bhakti, and I have no love, and I have no knowledge. No bhakti and no Vedanta.
В своите молитви за пристигането си в Америка той каза, въпреки че ми даваха титлата Бхакти Веданта, аз нямам нито знание, нито любов.
So what a perfect instruction Prabhupada has given us.
Вижте каква съвършена инструкция ни е дал Прабхупада.
To think, I have no love for Krishna, I have no knowledge, I'm just like a little baby crying for the mercy of my mother and my father. That's all.
Аз нямам нито любов, нито знание, просто като едно бебе плача за милостта на майка си.
Only in that humble mood can you properly distinguish between what is right and what is wrong.
Само в това настроение човек може правилно да разграничи кое е правилно и кое е...
Only in that humble mood Only in that humble mood can you truly see your own faults.
Само в това смирено настроение човек може наистина да види недостатъците си.
Each one of us has to become a fault finder.
Всеки един от нас трябва да се научи да намира грешки.
We have to become very expert to see our own faults.
Но трябва експертно да откриваме своите собствени грешки.
We don't like to do that.
Обаче на нас не ни
We
харесва.
want to think, yeah, I'm great.
Не искаме да си мислим, о, да, аз съм велик.
But as I've many times given the example,
Както много пъти съм дал пример,
in warfare, who becomes the first fatality on the battlefield?
по време на война, кой пада пръв в боя?
That soldier who has a high profile, you see.
Той е войник, който си пъчи гърдите.
He's the first one shot dead by the enemy.
Той е първият, който бива прострелян от врага.
But that soldier is crawling in the dirt, keeping himself very low profile, you see.
Но този войник, който...
The enemy can't even see him, to shoot him. Where are they? You can't see him. Where is he out there? I don't even see him out there. He's crawling, slowly crawling through the grass. You can't see him to even shoot him.
Той бавно пълзи в тревата и врага дори не може да забележи какво е говорим да стреля.
So, my best advice, my dear devotee,
Моят най-добър съвет, мой скъп предан
to you in your spiritual life,
за теб и за твоя духовен живот.
is always think, I'm a nonsense rascal number one.
Винаги мисли за себе си, аз съм негодник.
Because in that humble position, Krishna will bless you with transcendental knowledge.
Защото в тази смирена позиция Кришна ще те благослови с трансцендентално познание.
So,
Yeah.
the question is that, so even if somebody is saying lies and critic about oneself, and if it's not true, should we accept it?
So the question is, all right, go ahead.
Въпросът, ако някой говори лъжи за нас,
Say that, oh, I am a humble person.
So I'm humble even, yeah, okay. Go ahead.
престъпваме на смирение и да приемаме дори да каже лъжа срещу нас.
So the question is, okay, in the name of humility, if somebody says something about you that's not true, should you accept it in the name of humility?
Дали в името на смирението трябва да приемаме нещо, което не е вярно за нас, някаква лъжа?
For example, let's say somebody robbed the treasury and they took all the Lakshmi away from the temple.
Да кажем, някой е ограбил сейфа и взел всичките лакшми в храма.
And they accuse you that you stole all the money.
И идват и те обвиняват.
You're guilty, you're the thief, you stole the money.
Ти си крадеца, ти ограби сейфа.
And all the devotees say, you're the one, you did it, you are guilty, you stole the money from the treasury. Everybody says, yeah, you did it. 5 or 6 devotees, they all say, you did it, you're the guilty one. So you think, well, I guess I better be humble and say, okay, I did it. Because I'm being humble, you see. No. Humble doesn't mean the truth. The humble person, if something is true, he'll accept it. Yeah. If you did steal the money, you'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I carried away and I stole the money, but here I'll return it. But it's not that if you didn't steal the money out of humility, you'll say, yeah, I did it. Being humble is one principle that we must follow. But another principle is we have to establish what is true, which we have to clearly, in our preaching, we have to draw the line between what's true and what's not true. A preacher cannot tolerate untruth being presented as truth. He can't tolerate it. The preacher's duty is to establish truth on this planet. Untruth has now taken the upper hand on this planet. Untruth is the symptom of the age of Kali. That which is not true is accepted as what's true. So a preacher's job is to defeat untruth with truth. So if you didn't steal the money, you should argue very strongly. This is nonsense. I didn't steal the money. I don't accept that I stole the money because I didn't steal it. You can check my pockets. You can check my room. You will find there is no Lakshmi there. I have not one penny. You see? So humble doesn't mean you accept something that is untrue as being true. No, that is not what humble means. The Brahmana is a lover of truth. He's a teacher of truth. A Brahman means to know the truth and teach the truth. And if somebody wants to present untruth as truth, the Brahman shoots it down with powerful thunderbolt-like words. You cannot tolerate untruth being presented as truth. A Brahmana cannot tolerate it. A true Brahman will never allow untruth to be spoken. A Kshatriya cannot tolerate the citizens being tortured. He protects the citizens. The Vaishya cannot tolerate the cows being tortured. He protects the cows. And a Brahmana cannot tolerate untruth being presented as truth.
But trying to establish the truth, they get crucified or beaten in 21.
Yeah, Jesus did that and they crucified him. He could have just said, well, I think I'll give this preaching up, it's too risky. I think I just go back to Nazareth and we can become a carpenter, get married and have a family. This is too heavy. But the mercy of these great Vaishnavas is, even at the risk of being killed, they don't give up preaching truth, you see. Yeah.
Един въпрос, който не е по лекцията, защото не успях да я чуя. Някога в трудни моменти, когато ме трудно ми се появява разпятието. Как да го преодолея това нещо, тъй като ме притеснява?
Sometimes while I'm chanting in difficult moments, while I'm chanting, the crucifixion comes to me.
Okay.
So how,
All right. Okay.
She's disturbed by this. How to overcome it?
Well, thinking of Lord Jesus is actually a very nice thing. He's a great devotee. He's a great pure devotee. He's confirmed by Prabhupada. Think about Jesus is very nice. So that those thoughts come to your mind about Jesus, so it's very nice. But Prabhupada said, bring your mind back to the name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And another tip I'll give you, this isn't widely known in ISKCON, but I found it recently in the database. I'm answering your question. What happened? She got up and walked away. Phone? Oh, these damn mobile phones. Everybody should turn off their phones during the Bhagavatam. When during Bhagavatam class, just like on mine, I can turn off. I have a switch. I can turn off the ringer. Turn them off during Bhagavatam class. There should be no disturbance from mobile phones during the Bhagavatam. Just imagine that Shukadev Goswami is enlightening Parikshit Maharaj, and then he gets a call on his mobile phone. Here I asked you asked me a question, I'm answering this. I mean, how often are you with the spiritual master, your Guru Maharaj? Very rare. You're with your Guru Maharaj asking a question, and then the mobile phone interrupts the thing. So, just turn the ringer off now, or put it on the side. Okay, good. Very good. So, another nice, very wonderful instruction from Srila Prabhupada is this. I was actually quite amazed when I found this instruction. It's an instruction to a devotee named Vallabhi Devi Dasi. Prabhupada told her, when you're chanting japa, feel the presence of Krishna. Now that has got to be a really amazing instruction. Wow! Krishna is here. Let me feel his presence. You may say, well, how could Krishna be here? But isn't Krishna and his name the same? Nam avatar? Krishna has come in the form of his name. So when you start feeling the presence of Krishna, that beautiful blue-skinned boy with a peacock feather, a yellow dhoti, etc. You forget about that cross, that grotesque scene of a pure devotee being murdered. It's a bloody scene. Horrible scene. Just imagine if your spiritual master was grabbed and taken out by a mob and beaten up and stabbed. Would it be would you like to meditate on his bleeding body? It's not a very nice thing. So, if you can feel the presence, try to feel how Krishna is present when you chant your japa. That will be so wonderful. So, Krishna has come in the form of his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. You forget about the blood and gore. You see this, the crucifixion scene is very popular with the meat eaters. They like blood. They like to eat the blood and they like to see a Jesus, bleeding Jesus. They like to see that type of Jesus.
Те обичат да ядат кръв и обичат да виждат кървящия Исус.
The meat eaters are very fond of bleeding Jesus.
Месояците им харесва Исус да кърви.
But we Vaishnavas, we like to think of Jesus as a preacher, not as somebody who is bleeding to death on the cross.
Ние вайшнавите искаме да гледаме на Исус като на проповедника, не като някой, който кърви на разпятието.
Someone who's preaching strongly against nonsense.
Някой, който проповядва много силно срещу всички глупости.
Okay? All right, our time is up. So we thank you all very much for your participation in this Krishna Consciousness movement.
Благодаря ви много за участието в това движение за Кришна съзнание. Ще спрем до тук.
Please take Prabhupada's books very, very seriously.
Моля ви, приемете книгите на Прабхупада много сериозно.
Read them carefully.
Четете ги внимателно.
And regularly.
И редовно.
And follow them strictly.
И ги следвайте стриктно.
If you do so, I guarantee you, at the time of death, you will wake up in the spiritual world.
И ако правите това, ви гарантирам, че в мига на смъртта ще се озовете в духовния свят.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Шрила Санкаршана Прабху ки джай.